Hey guys, I just want to make an update post for you guys. A video about something that I've been thinking about. You see, I am going to move to Portland and I'm very excited about this. I got into a grad school there and I'm very happy that I'm going to be able to move. But this is a task that really can be a quite daunting thing to think about. And I was just thinking about in the past ways in which I have tried to go about conquering a task, and something that I have come up with that I think I'm pretty satisfied with. Well, it's basically breaking up the task into smaller and smaller parts and then doing the monumental goal in small bits, piece by piece. And a lot of the inspiration for this is taken from this book here, Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy. Great book if you're ever dealing with depression or anything like that. But there's two pieces of this book that I derived inspiration for my method. And the first is a section in the book where he talks about giving oneself approval. And he talks about a technique where you can track your approval throughout the day. If you're someone who, due to past experiences, perhaps someone in your life who was overly critical of you, maybe you're someone who has an overly developed self-critical voice. Well, a technique to combat this is to track your approval thoughts. It's for someone who is having a hard time approving of themselves. And after a while, I've done this when I wasn't feeling very approving of myself, and I've tracked my approving thoughts of myself like this, and I found that it really helped me, and I find that it really does turn around not only the attitude that I have inside of myself, but also it seems to help with the interactions that I have with other people, because if I'm approving of myself, that makes me someone who is also more pleasant to be around, for lack of a better word. So you can do that, but then there's another section in this book here where he talks about being process-oriented instead of outcome-oriented. In other words, if you have some big task, don't be obsessed about whether you're totally done with the task. Just focus on the process orientation, the tiny steps that it takes to complete the bigger task. And if you can live your life day to day, having completed those tinier steps, well then you've done all that you can do. You've tried. And the way that I have interpreted this is, like I say, it's kind of a combination of like the approval tracker and being process oriented. What I do is I list all the things that I could do working toward a goal, and then I make a spreadsheet like on a chart. Here's the one that I'm working on right now. I have moving to Portland, and I have all these little tiny steps that are involved with moving to Portland. Reduced my possessions, refined my resume, worked on my cover letter, filled out application, submitted job application, applied for a scholarship, worked on website portfolio, etc., etc. So, and you could even put really less difficult things. Got out of bed that morning, ate vegetables, exercised, things like that. Little tiny things, little tiny accomplishments. And what happens is, especially with the tiny accomplishments, you could wake up, I could wake up and just check mark like, oh, I got out of bed today. There you go. And you've earned a check mark for yourself. And what happens with me personally is that I do this, and then I start to kind of build confidence, and it kind of builds my self-esteem. It builds steam for me. And then if I do one of the easier ones and I move on to, okay, then I'll go on a walk, exercise. Okay, then I'll eat something healthy, and then okay, I'll submit for an application. I'll you know, do a cover letter, something like that. Move on to the harder ones as the day progresses, after my confidence gets built up. Here's one that I used in the past when I was actually applying to different grad schools, you know, and I find this is especially useful when there's some kind of impending deadline at the end. You know, the deadline is February 1, and then I can check mark everything leading up to that day, and it just makes me feel better that, hey, even if I don't get every single check mark of every box on every single day, you can still hit a ton of check marks after a while, and it kind of becomes this game that you can play to where it's like, here's the living proof that I tried my best. It kind of reminds me of, like, think about what if there was the opposite kind of spreadsheet, where the only thing on the whole spreadsheet was, did I achieve the task or no? Did I achieve the task or no? And just one box for every day. And if that were the case, I mean, it would be really discouraging. You couldn't put any check marks in at all. Those are my thoughts on kind of using positive reinforcement to achieve a goal, and just using a simple technique like this, breaking the task down into smaller and smaller steps. I hope this was helpful to somebody, or at least open your mind to a different point of view. And thank you so much for listening, and have a good one. God bless.